Hi everyone. Unfortunately, we don't have Mike Aubrey today, but we do have a great guest speaker who is going to be talking about aerial filming and what you can do for your teams to actually document your progress, but also for surveillance purposes, how to best use the available techniques that Gifford has worked on in the past. But before we get started with the actual webinar, I'd like to turn your attention to our website, which is updated with some of the teams who sent me photos of the teams as well as their UAVs. So we've got a few of the teams, starting with Oxpeckers and Kitso's team, Dutch UAS. I think that's a phenomenal picture. So thanks so much, guys, for taking that. I don't know if you guys actually had a chance to go look at the teams page. So we have that updated with our teams on the world map. So now if you click on, let's say, I'm going to zoom in here. Oops. So let's see, is this, there it is. So there's Dutch unmanned aerial systems. So you have the country, where they're from, the website, and their team video. So all the teams that actually have sent their links as well as their YouTube videos, it's updated on our system. And people that have not, it's not. So if you do have a web page as well as team video, please make sure you guys send that information to me so I can go ahead and get it updated on our website. Just a few more announcements. We do have some Cyclops that are available for any of the teams that are interested in using the airframe of the Cyclops C, because I do want to re-emphasize that the focus of the challenge is really on the embedded systems, the ability to be able to detect the poachers and convey an actionable message to the headquarters as well as the rangers in terms of where the poachers are, how many, what types of weapons do they have, how far are they from the animals, how long would it take them to get to the poachers. So let's say Kruger is divided into 23 different sections, and there's somebody that is found in section 12. The rangers in section 12, it might take them 40 minutes to get to where the poachers are located. However, let's say section 9, which kind of is on one side of the let's say section 9 is like right on this side. What that would mean is it might take the rangers from that particular section maybe 20 minutes to get to the poachers to actually interdict. So the UAV's goal is to maximize the potential of the rangers to be able to act in a much quicker way and stop, of course, the poaching before it occurs. So that's the key for the challenge. The critical design review, we did extend the date to June 30th. So all the new dates for all of our deadlines are right here on the Teams page as well. So for our critical design review, you will actually get the details of what you have to submit on the 1st of May. We're going to be making some changes to the point system just so the teams can understand that the focus of the airframe is not important for this particular challenge. Keep your focus on the sensors and the processing of the data on board. That's where you're going to be able to get maximum points. So that pretty much covers, I think, our updates for what we've done with the website. And I do want a chance to talk about Kitso from Dutch Unmanned Aerial Systems. He did a great job on his TED Talks, so make sure you guys get a chance to watch his TED Talks as well as his BBC radio talk show that he did last week. So if you can send me a link, I think you're on, or Elmar, you're on. If you have that link for his BBC, actually, I see you, Kitso. If you can send that link, I'll go ahead and I'll post it in our chat section. All right, so that's enough on my end of what's going on. I'm going to actually let Gifford Hooper, who is our Academy Award winner for Science and Technology in Aerial Filming, take it from here.
Hello everybody. Good to, well, can't see you, but good to be here. By the way, the website's looking fantastic. You've done a lot of updates on there, see? And the map is a fantastic idea. I think people knowing where everybody is. Can everybody hear me okay? Hopefully. Brief history of what I've done. I've been doing aerial filming for 30 years now, so it's a long time. When I first started, all the stuff that we did was just film cameras before video. So the equipment we were carrying was extremely heavy and bulky and awkward to operate. So everything had to be manually operated. When I first started, the cameras we had were clockwork cameras. You had to wind them up and they'd work until the mechanism wound itself down. I suppose initially I started with model planes and then found the limitations of those because my primary goal at the time, or still is doing aerial filming for commercials, feature films and pop videos and things like that. So to make it a better UAV for the challenges we had, we moved to model helicopters. Obviously, model helicopters have a lot of inherent problems. They're totally unstable and they have an awful lot of vibration on board. When video cameras came out, we started moving to video cameras on the helicopters. Couldn't record on board because the tapes were massive. So we had to send the pictures back to the ground via microwave link and record the images on the ground. See, back then, just recently having a look at old footage I've done, the quality was not very good compared to now. It's very basic. But obviously I've got 30 years experience in doing aerial filming actually in the field, on film shoots and on feature films, and commercials being the hardest jobs to do because there's so much pressure and there's a huge crew around. And the shots are very precise. You have to do it to a storyboard. So for the UAV challenge, I suppose for me, it's just a new thing for me to try and get involved in and look at. So the filming is completely different from what I do day to day. My day-to-day stuff is like following a storyboard and doing shots to a storyboard. I suppose that the information I can pass on to you that we've learned over time is basically keep whatever equipment you're using, keep it as simple as possible. That helps with reliability. And cameras. What I wanted to talk about on cameras is everybody's, I'm sure, well, most people are looking at using small cameras like GoPros and so on. I think for the UAV challenge to be more, or to fulfill the challenge better, I think you have to have cameras on board that are going to have lenses that are longer lenses and you can zoom in. Obviously the difficulty with that is the camera is bigger and the lens is the biggest part, and all of that needs to be operated manually. I suppose everything we did when we first started, we'd use automatic controls on the cameras, but for aerial filming, using automatic controls on the camera just doesn't work, because like if you're halfway on the horizon and you're bobbing up and down and the horizon's going in and out, the camera takes a light balance and it'll close itself down so that the picture will go dark, then it goes light, then it goes dark. You have to, my advice is all lens controls have to be operated manually, and obviously remotely manually on a controller. I suppose when we first started ages ago, most of the shots we do are with wide lenses, and as we've progressed over the years, we've got down to narrower, tighter zoom type lenses. Also, the problem with that is stability, and making sure the picture is smooth. So to do that, we built gyro mounts that went on the helicopters. Obviously that adds more weight to the helicopter, so in the end we ended up with quite large helicopters with turbine engines to power them. And the camera mount, it's two-person operations as a pilot and a cameraman. And the gimbals now on the camera mounts are usually 5 axes. You have 2 high frequency axes in the middle, and then there's a normal ball that's got pan and tilt and roll, which is low frequency axis. Reason for that, low frequency is good for taking out just movement of the aircraft moving left to right, up and down. but you need high frequency to take out vibration from engine. If it's a helicopter, take out vibration from the rotor disc. If it's a model plane, be taking out vibration from the propeller. Obviously, those vibrations show up more as you use longer lenses. I suppose for you guys, I need to, if you can ask me questions or get help if you're interested in how to build gyro stabilized camera mounts. Obviously, there's more camera mounts on the market now with the UAV market. You know, DJI making little quadcopters and so on. They've got brushless gimbals. Brushless gimbals are good to some extent, but the biggest problem with them is they're all open in the air. They do high frequency, but they've got no mount around them to shield them from wind hitting them. So they're getting there, but they need to be made. Basically, a brushless gimbal needs to be the gimbal that's inside another gimbal, if that makes sense. So that would be the brushless part, be doing the high frequency, and you just can have ordinary servos on the outside doing the low frequency. The brushless gimbals that you get at the moment from on the market are the small little brushless motors. But what you need to do really on those ones is take the brushless motor apart. They usually got like 12 or 14 poles going around. Take those poles out and basically change them in. Just imagine that the brushless motor is usually about that size. What you want to do is to have less power, to use less power, but have more torque. You need the motor to be large. To get around that is you take all the coils out, make the coils into 3 individual coils that go at the top of the mount, and that's basically how a full-size helicopter mount works. They've got one voice coil at the top that does high frequency, then on the outside they've just got a mount that is low frequency with simple motors. So if anybody wants advice or help in trying to develop something like that, I'm free to help you guys. I suppose the other problems that you encounter, or the biggest problems you encounter, are going to be the terrain in the location that we're going to be in. I've filmed in all sorts of countries all around the world, from filming in very cold weather to very hot weather, and in deserts with sand, which is the most arduous because it ruins your equipment. So basically, it's preparation for those environments. It's hard work, and I suppose what we used to do is we would have all our equipment boxed up, and we'd have like takeoff platforms for us to work from, and keep it. If it was like a deserty area, we'd wet it all down for helicopter use. One of the things I've been asked to look at is to make a video for the whole of this project, and also to help you guys with your videos on the projects, and making or giving it the story of how you're getting and doing what you're doing. What I want to try and do is make it so it's universal, so everybody who looks at the websites or looks at YouTube has a easy understanding of what you're doing. It's very easy for people to make long videos, and it's no disrespect, but make long videos and they'd be boring to the outside public. So one of the things I wanted to look at and give a talk about was trying to standardize those videos, trying to make them short and simple, sweet and to the point. And I think also we need, as a group of people, because we're all these different people all around the world doing this project, which is fantastic, is to try and make it so it's more coherent in a central thing, so everybody, it all looks the same. So what I was going to propose is that a small video title is made, which goes at the front of everybody's videos, and at the end of the videos there's a standard title sequence as well. It's just to help keep it all consistent, if that makes sense. Going back to camera stuff. Oops, my screen's just gone off. Going back to camera work, talking about long lenses on cameras and so on. One of the things that because everybody's looking at GoPros and so on, obviously GoPros can be modified and have a different lens fitted to them. Um, but GoPros are a fantastic camera for what they do, but they're not very good in low light conditions. So I would recommend, which sounds strange, using black and white cameras. Black and white cameras can uh, do much better low light definition. They're higher resolution than color cameras, and also, uh, what's I going to say now? They're higher definition. Basically, if on like TV broadcasts, if you're watching golf and so on, all the people that are filming golf, you may wonder how the cameraman keeps the golf ball in shot. Basically, they turn their monitor to black and white, turn it up to very high contrast. That way, you can see the golf ball in the shot in the viewfinder. So I would recommend using black and white cameras. I don't see any, unless somebody has a perfectly good reason, why you'd need color, especially in wildlife stuff for surveillance. So that's one point. Uh, the other thing is microwave links for cameras. Uh, most of the stuff that we use today is 2.5 gigs, and we use some 5 gigs microwave transmitters. Obviously, range will be your biggest problem. We have the transmitter on the helicopter always points back to base. We have a tracking antenna on the ground. I'm sure everybody's seen those. And then we record the image on the ground. We also do record the image in the airframe just for as a backup, but also sometimes you get higher quality image on the airframe. Just trying to think what else. I suppose if I go to next, your guys or all you people doing these videos for the or team videos, is to make coherent team videos. I don't know whether you want to have the videos sent into you and then you clear them and then send back information. That I'm asking whether it's to help the teams make a more coherent video, because they need to be kept short and to the point. That's a question for you, Alia.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. What was your well, what was your question?
It's whether the teams, when they send their videos in, whether you're just going to publish them, or whether you want their videos to be, look at their videos, try and get them to be a tighter video, send back suggestions for the teams to re-edit, and then send the video into you. Or is that asking a bit too much?
I think that would be nice if we can have the consistency and we could give them the feedback, except it is a lot of work on all the people that are involved. And I really would like the teams to focus on building their aircraft more so.
Yeah, sure.
So the key for the video that we're trying to do is we'd like to have a documentary at the end of the final. So part of what Gifford was talking about, which I'm sorry I didn't bring up before you started talking, is one of our goals is to have a documentary that we would do during the actual final competition. But what we'd like the teams to do from now until then is to kind of video themselves in progress. So what we would end up doing is picking a few teams that would become part of the documentary, so we could show how you started, where you started in your country, and your progress and your team's progress and the challenges that you guys faced and how you overcame those challenges. So that would all become part of our documentary. And then at the finals, Gifford and our video or documentary team will end up doing a documentary of the competition. So our goal would be to film the drones that would be flying and film and get the video clips from the drones that are flying as part of that documentary as well. So I think what Gifford's goal is to see how can we get that consistency. So when the final documentary comes out, the teams were already prepared. So while you guys are doing your filming for the next 6 months, it can just tie in very easily into the documentary for the wcUAVc. I'm going to unmute you for a second there, LB. He is our South African director. I think he wants to say some stuff. Okay, there you are. Hey, LB.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a good evening from here, but I guess good afternoon over there.
Yeah.
I just had a couple quick questions for Gifford, I guess. Can you maybe tell the teams what kind of video quality you're going to need so you can add their video into the documentary?
Okay. For documentary, I suppose the minimum quality needs to be HD these days. So it's 1080. Prefer it to be 1080p, so it's not interlaced. It's normal progressive footage, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, I think the minimum has to be HD.
Perfect. So 1080p HD will be fine. You don't need anything done in RAW format or anything like that, I guess.
That means you're shooting on digital SLR up to.
Yeah, exactly. For some people will be, some people won't, I think.
Yeah. If we can have the footage just raw, the higher the quality, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, the pain for me then is all these different formats is making them all work together, but that's my problem. So,
Well, we don't want
um,
it to be a
Excellent.
problem.
Well, we'll at least
We'd like to make it easy for you so it doesn't take us another year to get it edited and out and made available publicly. So we would like the teams to actually synchronize and work with you, not to make it difficult, but to make it easy for you, but also making sure that it conforms to the requirements that you're going to need to make a really good documentary as part of the competition.
yeah, minimum is HD. Uh, Obviously, as little compression as possible, and RAW would be preferable if it's on digital SLR or whatever they do, HVC. I don't know, so many video formats out there now. But on the editing program, it caters for all of those now. So unless there's some weird one that Sony suddenly brings out and changes it. But yeah,
No, thanks,
just
Gifford.
HD.
That's important. We get a lot of video on this site over here, and when we try to put something together, it's never quite high enough quality. So we'll make sure everyone's shooting for at least the 1080p.
So
Ideally,
now,
yes,
now
please.
what about like what do you think the teams should be, what part of their progress should the teams really be focusing on and showing so that way there's consistency and let's say we choose four different teams that we're going to follow through the challenge and those four teams should kind of be doing the similar stuff so we can compare their progress and then once they get to the finals as well. So what would you recommend some of the main highlights of what these teams should be shooting for when they are doing their own videos.
I would say, I suppose, first of all, whichever most of the teams are doing is a very brief interview with each team member and primarily the team leader of how they get together. I suppose what you want to see is personalities in the team and how their different roles in the team. And then I suppose the next bit would be how they decided on what aircraft and what sensors they're going to use and how they're going to implement those. And to have footage of them designing things. And I mean, what would be good is also to see the failures of things that don't work and things that do work. So how they resolve things that don't work, and how they're getting to the point of hopefully winning the challenge. I suppose then the other one, the hardest one, I think is going to be getting footage from some of the UAVs. Getting footage from some of the UAVs that's of high enough quality to use in the video. Uh, Ideally, that footage needs to be HD as well, but I'm not obviously I don't know what cameras everybody's using yet.
Okay. So I have a question from Covey over here. He says, which video format will be best for the documentary? .mov or .mp4 in parentheses H.264.
Any of them I'll be working in MOV or I'll be working in ProRes, so I'll be converting everything to ProRes. If it's possible to have everything in ProRes, that would be great, which is an Apple uh, format. That would be the best, but everything gets converted.
Okay, thanks. LB, are you there?
Yes, Aaliyah,
Hi.
I
Um,
am.
Now, some of the things that you think would be very interesting for the teams to showcase, what are your suggestions that you would like to see? Because you're in South Africa, and now you're there when you hear about the rhino poaching incidents, and you're there when, you meet these people that are devastated about what's going on, the rangers and the private game reserve owners as well. So, what are some of the things that you think they would like to see as part of our documentary process?
Yeah, I think for me, it's going to be the historical capture of what's going on. So flight testing, obviously, for those people who are out there doing their initial flight testing, and then as well as getting some of their initial video feeds. Um, as Gifford said, failures are always fun because we're going to get to look back on it and enjoy and then smile at the successes after those are resolved. But certainly some of that, another part of it will be actually the production. I think I'm going to speak on your behalf a little bit, but the exciting part of this challenge has been seeing how people are actually using the 3D printing and the different types of tools out there to build things. So catching some of the stuff from soldering boards to actually printing pieces and putting them together. When we go out and talk about the innovation, we really like to highlight the people's work and how they're working together. So anytime something neat is going together, I think it's a good idea to capture it. We can always edit it to make sure it's exciting later on. And then obviously on this side, we'll start doing our best to start putting our footage together. But I would certainly extend an invite to the team to come down and film the fact-finding mission when the aircraft are down. So I don't know what the plan is there, Leah, but a professional photographer is always better than me for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk to Gifford. I know he has some films lined up that he's going to be working on, and our fact-finding mission is pushed to June of this year, and I don't know what his timing is on that, but I think it would be great if we can actually get some footage from the actual fact-finding mission. That would be very helpful for the documentary, but also the fact that the teams will have the information that they need in terms of the animals and the aerial view of what's going on in Kruger Park is very important. We don't have that from anyone yet. So that's our goal for the fact-finding mission, is to be able to provide our teams with that data. I actually want, I'm going to ask Kitso if he can actually, I'm going to unmute you, Kitso. Um, and you've done a great job on your two public speaking ventures, and I'd love to get some feedback from you in terms of what you guys as team members and teams competing in the challenge would like the documentary to look like. So Kitso, if we can hear from you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. All right.
All right. Can you turn on your video cam?
Let me see if I have one.
Okay. LB, is your video cam working?
I have one.
Oh, good. Okay.
I don't know. Let me turn it on. Here we go.
Okay.
Coming on.
See if it works. Yeah, it would be good if we could get our people on here. Oh, there you
How
are.
about
Yay.
that?
How about that? It's about time. We
I
have
think
our
this is
South
first
African
time ever.
director. Yes, it's so good to see you. All
Yeah,
right.
keeping a low profile.
Yeah, well, glad to have you today on video. So thanks so much for participating, LB.
Yeah, Leah, while we're waiting for Kitso, I'll say you'll be happy to know that the first of 3 towers are going into Amakala as we sit here. So we'll have the highest speed around, and we're actually trying to poke into the university's big tap. So full Wi-Fi across the reserve looks promising for November. So we'll actually be able to get live feeds out, and we've been working very hard on some very specific encoding, so we should be able to stream probably 10 live feeds at any time without crushing the network in Amakala. So
Well, that's
big
exciting.
things coming on that side, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the challenge is big enough where we're definitely going to be getting live coverage during the actual final competition. So having Gifford and the team do the documentary at the same time, I think will be fantastic. Hey, Kitso.
Hello.
Hello. Wow, we've got quite a team today. Hey, all right. So why don't you share your feedback in terms of what, as teams competing in the challenge, what you guys would like to see out of the challenge, and kind of just like your overview of what's going on with the challenge and how you guys want the end result to look like when people go back and study what the Wildlife Conservation UAV challenge was.
I think I agree with the progress and building and the challenges that you faced, the setbacks, and then coming back from them. I think that's the best parts that you can look back to, certainly as the team members ourselves. And maybe in the end, the documentary would also show some actual results, maybe from the challenge itself, or maybe the practice, the in-field tests afterwards.
Now,
I think the documentary will definitely show, well, hopefully it'll show the actual competition and hopefully what each team has managed to successfully achieve. That'd be amazing to get footage out of what's actually been done with this project and to get that out to the outside world, because an awful lot of people need to know that.
Yes, exactly. That would be really nice.
yeah, I think so too. And one of the other things I'm working on is a book, because I know there are people that like videos, but there are also people that like to hear stories. So I would actually recommend, as you're doing your progress of the video, make sure you take notes as well in terms of, what's going on, what you guys are going through, some of the challenges you're facing, because I'd want to include that as part of our book that we would be releasing on the Wildlife Conservation UAV Challenge from team perspectives as well, because it's not just the leadership and us putting this together. You guys are going through your own challenges of, well, how are you going to make this happen? You have to come up with funding. You have to find a way to really understand what's going on in the park and understand what's available for technology, and what do you guys have to actually create to become innovative and become the first in the whole scheme of anti-poaching UAVs that would be working together in tandem to help protect endangered species. Yes, we're in South Africa right now, but we're not limited to South Africa. The technologies that we would be creating are going to be adaptable in other areas that would be similar to South Africa. And if we change a few sensors and different components, we'd be able to use those in areas such as Thailand or the Congo or somewhere else as well. So the goal is not just to compete, but really fascinating that we have people around the world that are collaborating on finding real solutions for a real problem that we're having. And it's phenomenal because I think, when I met with the general, he said that a lot of times, we don't realize that real solutions come from innovative means, and you guys seem like you're completely out of the box in terms of what you're doing. And that's why he called it the think tank, because we've got so much brain power from around the world working together on really solving a problem that Kruger has. I mean, we're not just, okay, we're an aircraft company and we're trying to sell you equipment. No, we're trying to understand what the problem is, and we're working together to find a solution to help with this, because same issues are going to arise around the world in other countries, and we can use same types of challenges and collaborate together from around the world and be able to solve this. I mean, right now it's just phenomenal. We have Gifford over in London, I'm in DC, and then we've got LB over in South Africa, and now we've got Kitso in the Netherlands, and I think I should get somebody in Asia online. I think Sammy, who is part of Crusaders, is online. Sammy, can you turn on your video cam? He's a team leader for Crusaders. Have you guys seen their design concept video? They have a really, really good digital video. I believe it was actually Covey that made the video, though.
Yeah, he made a video, and I'm in sort of an inappropriate situation. I couldn't turn on the camera. I'm really, very sorry for that.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. At least we have you online. But we want to hear
Yeah.
from India, what you guys doing. We actually have 11 teams that are competing from India, which is great.
Yeah, it's a very great internal competition though. It's all fun. Uh, and everything. It was sort of a challenge from the beginning, like from fundraising to bring out the strategies regarding structure and iframe and picking out the sensors and like hunting for source codes online, like to learn from the source codes and see how we can customize them. Uh, yeah, it's sort of a tedious process, but it's a fun learning process, and I'm really very inspired by the progress of team all over the world. Like, especially Dutch with they are a very big inspiration for us. Uh, they they're just cool. They're rocking the show actually. And yeah, Kitso, your TED talk was really amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it's amazing
So
that we're sorry.
yeah, please go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go, keep going. This is their video that they did, Gifford. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but I'm
Yeah,
playing
I
their
have, I
actual
have seen it.
video.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. But go on, Sammy from India. Tell us how you guys, this is one thing that, I mean, I was really surprised that there were 11 teams that are competing from India, which is exciting. And really understand what's going on as well. It's not just that you guys are competing. You've got some real brain
Mhm.
power over there.
Yeah, I would admit, of course, our fellow team from India are really very talented and skillful. Some of them are real pros, and they've been in this uh, scenario for about more than a year, and they're all experienced. Of course, we are gathering some sort of support from other teams, like what are the embedded system, approach they are pursuing actually. They are helping, and they don't really share their strategies and all the stuff, but then they we are actually rookies, and they kind of help us in terms of, let's say, where to begin off with and how to bring out a fail-proof method or methodology and all the stuff. And regarding our progress, we are like thinking from the point of a poacher. Like we try to put ourselves in the poacher's shoe and see how well we can actually escape from the drones, and so that it helps us to converge on the points how to bring out an effective artificial intelligence algorithm to do the image processing. And I'm not sure whether we'll be able to complete within this stipulated time, but I hope we would be able to bring out a very good solution for the, would say, this entire poaching scenario. Uh, I've got this doubt regarding the video transmission. Uh, I'll just put it forward, Gifford. Uh, can you please suggest what would be the preferred bandwidth, for the video transmission to have a lossless, continuous video transmission? Because the preferred video quality is about 1080p, right? And we are kind of battling over, like, we're scratching our brains what to do for a seamless video transfer.
I don't think there's any perfect video link. I haven't found one. They always break up. I would imagine nowadays with the technology going it around with Wi-Fi, which would be one of the better ones now, instead of actual microwave links. Obviously, Wi-Fi is in some of the higher frequencies now. At least with Wi-Fi, you can, I think, you get a better quality of signal for data and for video now. So I would look at Wi-Fi scenarios. I know some of them do long ranges now.
Yeah, but there is a problem with the long-range Wi-Fi, transmitters and all stuff.
Yes, there is. They're heavy and it's not easy now.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Have you guys heard of Iridium?
I'm
Has
sorry.
anybody heard? It's called Iridium. It's a company that does satellite stuff, and they just came out with this, the world's smallest satellite chip that you can actually install into your drone and get satellite connection. I'm actually going to reach out to them. I just found out about this on Friday, so I'm doing some more research on it. But I think this would be a great tool for our teams to look into. I believe it's something like $300 or something. I don't know 100% how much it is, but it's a low cost satellite transfer receiver, but you can actually get service anywhere in the world, and this would be great for rural areas. So I'm actually going to reach out to them because they're based right here in the Washington D.C. area, which makes it great. But I think if we can get some sponsorship from them to at least maybe test out during the finals, or at least have some of the teams that are able to test it out, because we have teams all over the world, and we want to be able to see, well, how would this work in India versus in the Netherlands versus in South Africa or Kenya or Brazil or in the U.S. So I think one of my goals would be to try to get at least maybe 5 to 10 sponsored for our teams around the world that can use them, and see what kind of feedback we get. But that would be a pretty interesting way of us trying to look at technology from a different perspective as well, because I know that's one of the issues we have. Elby, what's going on the ground in
Yeah,
Amakala?
before I hit that, I will just say that for those of you who have been traveling the world, Iridium's been around for quite some time and has been very successful with their sat phones. So unfortunately, I've used them on just about every continent. So, in a former life, in a different job. But yeah, that's pretty proven technology, and I'm glad to see that they're shrinking it down and doing some other things with it. Now I'll segue over. So on the ground, I was actually out today in a neighboring national park, Addo Elephant National Park, which is here by Amakala, just spending some time with the animals and the family. So all is well. Like I said, we're putting in a lot of neat things. So Wi-Fi is coming into Amakala as part of our research and development. So we're hoping to push out some 30-plus kilometer towers as some play with military-grade Wi-Fi, and we're doing some of that testing for 4 sandparks, actually. So exciting stuff on ideas of where we may be going, and I think that would play right along with what Gifford was talking about, which is streaming video across Wi-Fi works great. If you have a canopy overhead, then you don't have much to worry about. So those are really the big things. We've got a lot of RFID tag stuff under works on our own, and as you know, Aaliyah, that's coming up this week as well. So lots of stuff there. And then we have some interesting manufacturers of UAVs who are coming down to test in Amakala coming up. I think they're hearing about the UAV challenge, and they're wanting to come play as well, just to see what all the hype is about. So one of my requests for you, Princess, would be, I think there's a big UAV conference coming up in May, right, that you'll be at. So maybe some video footage of you talking to the big players and asking them to get on board and sponsor all the teams would be fantastic.
That would be really
maybe
cool.
Yeah, maybe a camera in the face of some of the bigger programs, asking them to support some of the smaller teams that are playing in the challenge would be good footage to
Yeah,
record for
I think
people to take.
so. I think so, and I am actually looking forward to the AUVSI conference, because we will have a lot of our leadership advisors, as well as TACP advisors there, as well as some of our sponsors and partners at the event. So we're working on putting together a press conference at the AUVSI conference. So I think that would be really helpful in terms of trying to get more support from the aerospace industry in terms of working with our teams as well. I know one of their concerns is that this is a UAV challenge. I actually had a chance to go to the Science and Engineering Festival yesterday in Washington, D.C. at the Convention Center, and I did meet with somebody from Northrop Grumman, and they're very interested. It's surprising to me. Everybody knows about the challenge. They're like, oh, yeah, we've heard about the Wildlife Conservation UAV Challenge, 3DI Robotics, or, Northrop Grumman, and, of course, some of the other companies, Raytheon, that were there for this, and they were more interested in talking about the challenge. But I think now that we're not little babies anymore, well, people are definitely interested in participating and becoming part of it. So I think having an opportunity to go to the AUVSI conference will be very helpful with our partners and sponsors there as well. But we'll have another leadership meeting after I get back from the conference, because I want to be able to give you guys all the information that I've learned during the conference and what we've learned in terms of development of the industry itself. But Gifford, from your perspective, what are some of the things that we should be looking at from here until the competition, and where we want our teams to focus on?
On the video side, for filming the teams, I think that for me the biggest help, the footage I get, is I need it well catalogued, because I'm going to get, if I'm getting footage and I don't know who anybody is and I don't know what the shots are, it's very hard work. So as much information on every shot that they do as they can give me would be fantastic. So cataloging is key to editing. One of the biggest problems in video is sound. So if there's any interviews with people, ideally it has to have individual mics on people or clear sound. The actual microphone on a camera is not very good, and you pick up lots of camera noise and wind noise. So sound, get that as clear and crisp as possible. If people are interviewing other people, if they, depending on their camera equipment, if they can put the person asking the questions and the person speaking on different soundtracks, that would be helpful. Or if they can't do that, is when they ask a question, ask the person who's answering the question not to answer over the questions, and the person asking questions not to ask questions over the answers. Does that make sense? So there's a gap between, so it's easier to edit that way. And also, if they're doing interviews or just generally any shots, just need some other just random shots of which we call pickups. So shots they can insert into the video, which covers up other mistakes in the video. They like little pickup shots of close-ups of things. So if somebody's talking about something, then later on do a close-up of that object they're talking about, and hand gestures and so on. But I think primarily the thing is sound and cataloging. I suppose on lighting, everything needs to be, well, it's difficult with different teams doing it. Everything needs to be as well lit as possible. Obviously backlighting looks fantastic, but it's difficult for people to do. So just keep the video images as clean as possible. But I say cataloging is the main thing.
So how long should these videos be, Gifford, that the teams should be looking at? Because let's say from now until November.
As short as possible.
But
as short as possible.
Okay.
And succinct as possible.
So approximately, what is like the so if they're shooting for 6 months, what's the realistic time frame that they should have?
What, to send footage in?
Yeah.
Oh, good grief. That's a good one. I suppose to send as much footage as they can, but try and keep it as succinct as possible and clear as possible.
But how long? Like an hour? Could it be like an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours?
If it's over 6 months, I suppose an hour from each team would be the maximum.
Okay, so they would have to do a lot of the editing themselves before they send it to you, right?
Well, basically the shots that they get is try and cut them down to the bits they need. I don't want all the other stuff, the camera's moving and so on. So keep them as clean and simple and cut it to those bits to send. Yes.
So we'll say about an hour's time for the next 6 months.
Yeah, it depends what they're filming really, but I would say an hour is going to be. I mean, after that, it would only take a few minutes. So
yeah. So if we showcase, let's say 3, maybe 4 teams, but for the final documentary plus the actual final competition when everybody will be there as well, and we want to do the front end of it and we want to do the back end, we'd want to be able to document the actual award ceremony and the banquet, and then also our technology conference that we would hold after the competitions on the 8th and the 9th. LB, we're going to be working on how long that's going to be. It might actually just end up being a 1-day conference that we're going to do, just to do our lessons learned. You know, how do you go from here? Where's the next challenge? What should the teams be focusing on? So keeping that in mind, I mean, how how much time are we looking at per team that would actually get into the film?
I suppose it depends how long you want a final film. I would recommend final film should be half an hour, but it's possible to get it to an hour, I suppose, or maybe do it in 2 halves. I would imagine most of the film will be of the actual competition and everything going on there. The other bits that the teams would be generating now would be small clips that would be used to help explain that story of the actual competition. So I think an hour is maximum need from all those long shots.
Okay, great. We actually have a question from
One of the things
Cubby.
I will be
Uh-huh.
one of the things I will be doing is setting up an area for people to upload their videos to.
Okay, and that was his
So
question. He said,
was it?
where should, yeah, that was Covey's question, is where should they be sending these videos to, like a Google Drive or Dropbox? Is that something you'll work on?
Yeah, I will set up either be Hightail, which is basically like Dropbox. I think they bought Dropbox, and there will be one called Video Cloud.
Okay, and we'll have this information uploaded on the website so you guys know. So most of our team announcements will end up being like on the team page. So keep a lookout for that in terms of what's going on.
How are you going to choose? How are you going to choose which teams to?
We're not. We're gonna let you choose.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want to be the bad guy here. I can't tell them, sorry guys, you're not going to make the cut.
right. Yeah, okay.
I want them all to win.
Yeah, okay. Obviously, that's going to be a hard one. I thought, yeah, it's choosing
But you know what?
teams and totally different ways that they do things.
Well, see, because you're editing,
two that's similar.
because you're editing the film, you would be able to see what each team is doing, and based on what they're showing you, you're going to be a much better judge of which team is going to fit into the final end goal that you're looking at. I think.
Right.
No, I think you would be a much better judge of that. You've done films for
I'll
30 years. You're the expert here, not me. We have actually Nima, who is he's in Germany. I'm going to unmute you, Nima. He actually was just talking about onboard Wi-Fi. I think a question you guys had about streaming video, and they're testing something with his team. Nima, are you there? Hello. Hey. Yes, there you are. I can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me.
Yeah, it's very, very low.
Right.
Can you turn up the volume?
Yeah, I'm just closer to the microphone. So I found this Sony camera. This is like a complete sensor with 10x zoom, and it's now much cheaper than the release price, like $100. And it has a very good API support from Sony for Android. So if you use Android as your operating system, you could do some image processing, and it costs here at least it's just 99 euros. And it has a Wi-Fi on board, and also kind of optical stabilization.
Do you know anything about this one, Jeffrey?
I've seen that camera. I haven't used it. It bolts onto a phone, doesn't it? I thought that's the idea.
It has autofocus, and actually I have it here now. I could show it to you. The cool thing is it was designed to kind of accompany Android phones as your external high quality sensor with a lens. There's also another QX100 with like better sensor, but this one is really light, about like 100 gram, less than 100 gram. And the only negative point is that it's not waterproof.
So you're going to have an enclosure.
Yeah, so if you use your own gimbal, you have to kind of cover that. And the board that we're using is called UDO. It's quad-core ARM board that has Wi-Fi on board. So I just easily connected this camera to our Wi-Fi enabled board, and it has Android in it, and it works pretty well.
The only thing because I don't know the camera, the only thing I'd have to look at is quality for low light, because quite a lot of the challenge is going to be in low light. So I'm not quite sure what that camera is like at low light.
What cameras have you used for night vision, Gifford?
Well, I said before, we use black and white cameras because they're much better in low light. But for infrared, I have used flare cameras before. Obviously, the quality of the infrared cameras are very good. They're quite low resolution.
Okay.
But in films, all video cameras that we use can handle quite low light. But they're big cameras. They're not small things.
Right.
Like
yeah.
you're going to
For
be using
UAVs.
for this challenge.
Oops. Okay. All right. I'm gonna let LB. Oops. Sorry. Take it from here in terms of what's going on in South Africa and any updates for the teams from your end.
No, like I said, we're working hard to get infrastructure in place, really. Like I said, as far as Wi-Fi, and we'll actually have some high-resolution ground cameras, so when we start to do filming, everything should be there. It's kind of the broken record as far as how the fight is going over here. For those who didn't see, we had 40 horns stolen. I guess that was just last week out of a safe. So nothing at this point is safe. They cracked a 3-week safe within a few minutes and had pulled 40 dead horns out. So with the value of horn as it is, the need to get smarter, faster is continuing. So every day it's a phone call asking us what we can do, and we're really just excited to get everyone's entrance down here and see if we can't make a big difference.
Great. Thank you so much,
Question
LB.
regarding RFID chips. On the RFID, what's the range you're expecting to get on an RFID?
I don't want to get too far into that right now because we have a webinar coming up, and I got to be honest, the RFID tags that we're testing right now, we're keeping pretty close hold. But Aliyah has a couple of experts coming on. I think that's Thursday, isn't it, Princess?
Yes, we do. We have Rich Fletcher from TagSense. He's going to be coming on, and he's working with us for the challenge, but possibly also with LB to get some of his equipment down in South Africa as well. So he's over at MIT, worked in the Media Lab, and they've done some really interesting work. So we're hoping that that's going to be a much better solution than some of the things that we've been looking at in the past.
And on that note, I do have to say thanks to one of the teams who I don't know if they're on right now, but to House for Hack for helping my engineer out in making a casing for one of our tags over the weekend. Nice to have some help with 3D printing and expanding that the role of our teams from the UAV challenge, because they helped us tremendously with a mock-up for a tag we're working on currently. So thanks to them.
All right, great. Thank you. I do want to say we have somebody that's an expert in CADs with Autodesk. Her name is Joanne. She's on the call right now. We've got a minute before we have to leave, but she's going to be available to help the teams in South Africa because we are really interested in getting some 3D printed parts for the teams through our Solid Concepts grant. So we're hoping that they're going to take advantage of that. So we'll be doing another CAD and 3D printing for the teams probably at the end of next month. But it's probably the right time now for the teams to take advantage of the grant from Solid Concepts as well as the personal, I guess, resources in terms of personnel that Autodesk is also providing us with through Mike, and then Joanne's also volunteering for us as well. So we're glad to have them on board and be able to help our teams understand CAD, because that's how you're going to move from concept to design to a finished product in a very short period of time. So we have to get over the hurdle of how do you do that. So we're hoping that the teams are going to progress, and for our next challenge, it's going to be a little bit more easier, but at the same time, a little bit more challenging because we're going to be looking at new technologies and new solutions as well. Thank you so much, guys, for participating. Gifford, thank you so much for your time and giving our teams feedback on it. Is there any way you could do like a short one paragraph note about how to keep everything consistent? And then what I'll do is I'll send a note out to all of our teams with that particular information that you've requested of them and where they should send these videos as well.
Yeah, I'll make up a web page with some
Okay.
information and videos of do's and don'ts,
Okay.
and and a link. Obviously, the best way of showing the videos do's and don'ts is to see it on a video of what not to do, and a link, obviously, where to drop footage.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And LB, thank you from South Africa for participating. Glad to have you on board as always. Kitso, thank you for participating all the way from the Netherlands. And yes, you've done a great job on your TED Talk as well as the BBC interview. You're fantastic. So thank you so much. And Nima, thank you from Germany. And Sammy, thanks from India for participating on the call as well. We'll see you guys on our next webinar on Thursday, which is the big one we've all been waiting for. RFID tags and how do we move forward on that? So hopefully Rich will get all the answers, all the questions answered for our teams that have been asking several different questions on RFID tags. Thank you so much for being patient. I will be announcing and releasing the critical design review requirements on the 1st of May, and along with a minor change in the points because we realize that some teams might be focusing a lot on the airframe, whereas we really want you guys to focus more so on the embedded systems of the actual aircraft. So that modification will be made on the 1st as well. And oh, exciting, exciting. AIAA is allowing us to have 4 to maybe 6 teams from our challenge submit a white paper for their annual conference, which will take place next year. I will be sending you guys details on that, and I think that will be a great opportunity for us to be able to showcase our stuff at this huge event that most of the people around the world are really looking at. So that's another opportunity, and that's after the challenge, but it would still be based on what you guys did during the competition, what your ideas were. So I'll send you details of how we're going to pursue with that, because we only will be able to have 4, maybe maximum 6 teams for that particular white paper, which is due on the 2nd of June. And as a matter of fact, I think if you get your critical design review done early, you could probably use that and submit it for the AIAA conference as well. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you again, everyone, for participating, and we will see you guys on Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, see you Thursday.
All right, you guys take care.
Okay, bye.
Ciao.
Yeah.